everyone. Welcome back to Lash Boss Radio. I'm Shelby, your host, and today I'm joined by Noah Armstrong of Aven Designs. She has designed with her husband Terry these incredible lash beds, and I have them in my space currently, and they hand delivered them to me because it was like more of like a pre-launch situation, but I am obsessed with these beds, and I am so excited to welcome Noah to the show to talk all about the beds and why you need them in your space too. So welcome to Lash Boss Radio, Noah.
Thank you very much. Very excited to be here. I'm not really a public speaker.
It's okay.
Not really great at having anything scheduled like this, but I'm a talker, so ask all your questions, Shelby.
Yes. Well, I'd love to start with like, how did we get here? So tell me a little bit, tell the listeners a little bit about you and your timeline in the industry and why you started making lash beds.
Okay. So to me, it was a natural progression, yet I had no idea that my career would go this way. I started as a lash artist. I guess the first thing is I went to an Aveda Institute in Washington, and I started as an esthetician and an MA. So I worked as at a plastic surgery office, doing laser and tattooing, cosmetic tattooing. And then that evolved into taking a lash class. One of the girls that I interned with at the plastic surgery office, she had said, "Hey, I heard that this was a great way to kind of interact with clients and make money while we're building our aesthetics career." So that was really it. I took one lash class and thought that it was going to be a stepping stone in my career. However, I quickly realized that I loved lashing because what I loved about it is the response that I was getting from clients. When I took a client at the plastic surgery office, they either left wanting to kind of shield their face from the procedures. They were getting results weeks and months later where lash extensions, I would provide a service on a client and they would immediately get up and look in the mirror and say, "Oh my God, this is amazing. I love this. And now I want to come back to you every couple weeks for the rest of my life to maintain this." So I got a lot of confidence in becoming a service provider through lash extensions. So that was really the basics of what I loved. And then I went from that to just opening up my own studio. The first place that I had was at a Sola Suites. And I was really just amazed at the response from the clientele that I got. Loved taking clients. Went from that to opening a full service salon, which great. And then about 2 years in from that, we closed the salon and we made it just exclusively a lash lounge. And from there, I focused on lash education, and then I opened a lash retail center so I could have, lash products locally available. So opened an exclusive lash lounge in Montana, the first of its kind in Montana. And then I really just started, I fell into becoming an educator because I needed to hire qualified individuals. And in my area, there just wasn't any lash education. So I just honestly fell into becoming an educator because I wanted to have a successful business. And then it grew from the people that I hired, training them, cultivating their business, helping mentoring them, to that opened up to then working with schools throughout Montana and then just taking, students throughout Montana. Then I opened up a lash retail center, having brands locally stocked, which was great to be able to support all of the artists here. And then Aven really came about because I was always looking for better solutions for my business. I was always looking to grow and expand my business. And every time I was adding somebody to my business as a business owner, I had to look at, okay, now I'm buying more furniture, I'm putting in my space. I want everything to be aesthetically pleasing. I want clients to feel like the space is very warm and welcoming. I want it to be modern and chic. But as a business owner, every time you do that, you are spending a lot of money to do that. It's very big investments. And so I got to the point in my business that I wanted to just start making wiser investments. And so when I was looking at any furniture that was out on the market, it was very beautiful. It looked like it was going to work for my space. However, it wasn't 100% what I wanted. And I thought it was a very big investment for not exactly what I was looking for. So those conversations just transitioned, to be honest, into Aven Designs. I had talked to my husband about it for a long time, talking about what would work in my space. And as a business owner, what would work in my space is having an open concept salon. I wanted everything to look pristine and beautiful at all times. I wanted everything to be tucked away. I didn't want a client to come in and feel like that they were just kind of crowded in with so many lash artists and so many clients. So how can I make my space look like that without adding an extra 1,000 square feet?
Mhm.
And so that was really how the design of the furniture came about. A couple of years before Aven was actually formed, my husband had taken a Chase lounge and just modified the back of it, and then just pulled the upholstery over to make it look like it wasn't modified. And that's actually what we used in my lash lounge for about 2 years before. And I had so many people reaching out to me asking where I got that, how was that made? And my husband was like, I just kind of made something in my shop for my wife. This isn't a, piece of furniture that I can sell or, trademark or patent. So, but because he was able to do that, I just came to him with this idea and I had a design idea. I wanted it to be comfortable for the client, but the biggest thing is that I wanted it to be great for the business owner and to be great for the lash artist. I needed them to be able to be comfortable and sit upright, sit up straight, to be able to lash long hours.
Mhm.
So I came to my husband with this idea and he decided, okay, I'm going to try this. And so he went into his shop and just continuously worked on building this product. He does not have a carpenter's background. He does not come from an upholstery background at all. So it was kind of mind blowing that he was able to create this product. Once he figured out the design, he really we just decided to invest in equipment and be able to make this product quality and be able to mass produce it. So, to be honest, it really just happened because I was looking for a solution in my business. And I was blown away by what my husband was able to do. So, before we were even able to put them in my business, it was without really a plan, it just started to evolve into a business.
You guys really knocked it out of the park with the design of it, though. Can we talk about the specific features of the beds and why they're so great? First is like the storage. There's two spots for storage, which I only thought there was one. And I'm sure from pictures, most people also only think there's one. So, can you talk to us about the storage features and then some of the other features that you guys have in there?
Yes, so the biggest thing is exactly what you're talking about is the storage. That was really the solution I was seeking for my business. Again, I wanted my customers to be comfortable, but adding the storage actually takes away multiple other pieces of furniture that I needed in my space, and so it made my space look a lot cleaner and, actually made it look bigger because I didn't need to have side tables, I didn't need to have coat racks, those types of things. So originally, the first The drawer that's in the front, in my mind, that was designed for client storage. I live in Montana, so we have, clients that come in with big bags, coats, scarves, boots, those types of things. And so I needed somewhere to store that stuff and have it look really clean and nice. And so originally, that's what that drawer was designed for. Um, but the great thing is because the hole underneath of the bed could have been usable, at the end, the drawer actually turned out to be very, very large. So there's enough space in that drawer that you could put client storage, but you could also put like a long-term storage, like, um, extra blankets and things like that for your clients. The second part of the storage is the cutout that is on the back side of the bed is where the lash artist is. And that can be used as two things. So the nice thing is, regardless of your height or the artist height, the leg length of the artist, you're never going to feel cramped. You're never going to feel like your knees are being pushed up against upholstery, which is also great for the bed because after that happens for so long, you could almost get like sagging in your piece of material because you're pushing on it. It's kind of like the idea of like the back of a sofa, right? If you're always pushing on that piece of material and there's nothing behind it, then your furniture is going to kind of look old and worn very quickly. So not having that and having it be completely cut out and then the inside of it upholstered, you could stretch out your legs throughout the day, so that they don't have to just be right next to you, just sitting properly in a seat. The next thing is storage. So you could take, a big tote of supplies and put underneath there for long-term storage, which cuts out.
And it's not like on the floor. Like there's like a shelf, but like at the bottom, it's not at the top, it's at the very bottom. It's like hidden.
Yes, exactly. And part of that is so that nothing looks messy. So everything, my vision was, when you look at Instagram and you see these beautiful pictures of salons, in all reality, to get those pictures, what do most people do? They take out a lot of things in their space to make those photos look beautiful. And I just thought, well, that's what I want my clients to see every time they walk in. I don't want them to see this staged photo. I want them to walk into a salon space like that. Well, how do you do that? I mean, that was really the simplest part. That was the solution that I was looking for,
Mhm.
is how do I make a salon look beautiful when a client walks in? And the only way that you can do that is by putting everything away.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I can speak to this because in our school we have an open concept, and there we had massage tables, and throughout the day I was just so like bothered by how everything looked, like, because everyone's stuff is everywhere. We have the students with their stuff, we have the models with all of their stuff, and having the beds in there now, I'm like, it's almost like my brain goes back to, "Oh, I'm about to, like, hate what I walk into," and then I'm like, "Oh, just kidding, like, I have the beds now," and they just make everything look so sleek and clean and pretty. And so, to clarify, so there's a drawer for the clients at the front of the bed that pulls out, and by the way, it, like, soft closes. It's like a very nice drawer. I was talking to your husband, Terry, and he was telling me that, y'all use, like, the best, like, drawer stuff. I don't know what that's called.
Drawer slides.
Okay, and I can
Yes,
tell.
hardware.
It's so good, and then when you close it, it's just so soft when it closes, and then at the front of the bed where the artist is, there's another shelf, like, almost where, like, if you were to stretch your feet out, like, that's where you would, like, hit that shelf if you wanted to. But you can, like, stick your purse or supplies or anything under there. It's perfect. Okay, and that's not even the beginning. Okay, so we've got the storage. What else?
Well, thank you very much. There was a lot of time into that design. Originally, we were just going to put the drawer in the front, and then my husband um, part of this process, it took him about 10 months to finalize his official design. And that was because he kept just thinking, well, this is wasted space, or we can do this better. And that's even where like the hardware came in. It's like, if you buy nice cabinetry or you buy nice furniture, you're expecting each piece of it to be quality. And so, part of it is if you had a client laying in the bed and then they wanted a blanket, you don't want to open a drawer that then they can feel that rattling. And then you don't want it to slam, because I know how I want to provide a service to a client, but at the same time, what if the artist that's sitting next to me doesn't provide that same level of service? I don't want to hear slamming drawers all
Mhm.
day, or I don't want those clients to be disturbed as they're laying in the bed. So a lot of thought went into each piece that we put into this bed. So we have the storage of the bed, and then the next thing is really the arch of the bed. Took a long time to design because we were trying to design a piece of furniture that is accommodating for all sizes, which is very tough to do. It's not going to be perfect for every client, right? If we could customize each bed for, hey, if your client is 5 foot, if all of your clients were 5 feet tall, or all of your clients were 5'9", right? The design of the bed would be different. However, you have no idea what your clients, you know, weight and height are going to be. So we try to design it with their comfort in mind. So when we made the bed, we didn't make the arch of the bed so what word am I looking for?
Steep?
Um, so steep, correct. We didn't make it so steep that the client would feel like they would want to be sliding down and then have their butt sitting against the curve of the bed, right? That's going to be the most comfortable for the client. So how do we achieve that? And it was making the arch of the bed not as steep. So it wasn't making that their shoulders had to be stretched back and that their neck had to be arched. So we came up with a lot of different versions before our final version. Every single time something was, changed a half an inch, then the entire bed had to be redesigned. So it was a lot of beds thrown in the dumpster
Wow.
to get to that process. Like I said, it was about 10 months of building beds to get to that final process. But the goal really was to try to make your client comfortable, because if they stopped scooting down, then the artist would stop hunching over them. And the more that you could sit up straight and actually pull your legs underneath the bed and feel like that you were sitting right on top of the client, the longer that you could lash, the longer in the day and the longer your career can be. So that was always the objective, is I wanted the client to be comfortable, but really my focus was the artist, because if you can do your job where you're comfortable, you can actually do your job faster and just more efficiently, which gets the client happy, because some clients are going to come in because they just want to have girl talk and they want to take a nap. But what I found is I had so many clients that wanted their lashes done, and they were busy moms or business owners, or they had jobs and they had responsibilities, and so a lot of them needed to come in, get a service, and get out. And so, you know, the harder it is for the artist, the longer it's gonna take for us.
Right. I also want to mention about the foam. It's so high quality. These beds are so comfortable. I wish you could feel them through the screen. Like, I don't know. I love them. But can you talk a little bit about the foam, the upholstery, and all of that, because it's super well done. And it's almost like I knew I already loved the beds, but when I saw them in person, I just realized like how well they were made. And you would think that like on y'all's first round of doing this, especially you guys don't make furniture often or like before this, you would think that there was going to be like mistakes in there and stuff, but I can't find a single one, and it's just super luxurious. So sorry, continue.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Like I said, a lot of man hours went into this. So me and my husband actually manufacture the beds ourselves. Um, so my husband does all of the build, he does all of the upholstery, and then the part that I do is actually stitching all of the upholstery together for the tops of the beds. And he really comes up with all of the design ideas. I had the original idea. I said, I've been in the industry. I know that there's a need for this product. I love talking to people. I love traveling. This will be just something fun and exciting for me to do on top of being able to put them into my space. But that's my role, to be honest, in the business. I am the business part and the assistant when it comes to manufacturing. Everything else has been 100% Terry. Um, we have tried a lot of different manufacturers when it comes to foam and materials. We sourced a lot of products before we actually put our product on the market. And a lot of that was we looked at it from a consumer's point of view. I would hate myself to buy a product, make an investment in something, and then 6 months later, that company came out with a better version of it. Because as a consumer, I would feel like that my money was wasted, or now I want that better model, that better product. And so that's what we didn't want to do. So we did, like I said, a lot of trial and error, a lot of testing to be able to bring our final product to market, that it wasn't going to be, oh, you know what, we need to go through an R&D process for a year and then we're going to change things. So that's really, we did all of that before we launched. When it comes to the foam, we decided to use, it's actually called a medium firm foam. And why we decided to go with that is I would love for every client to just like jump in and it feels, super, super cushy, and like a big pillow. However, when it comes to upholstery, if you use a foam that is very, very soft in the beginning and you stretch upholstery over top of that, as the foam starts to wear down, the upholstery will stretch. So if you've ever seen like maybe like a maybe a medium grade piece of furniture, if you sit on that sofa in the same spot all the time, have you ever seen like the upholstery is kind of stretched and worn?
Mhm.
And that has a lot to do with just the way that the upholstery is stretched and the foam. So we decided to go with, like I said, that medium density foam so that the bed will be more comfortable after a few weeks of use. It will soften up a little bit, but it's not going to soften up to the point where the upholstery then stretches or you feel like that there's just like a wear spot in your foam.
Mhm. I love it. It's amazing. And y'all have so many different design options too. So walk us through that. You've got different types of bases. Like you could have a wooden base, you could have a base with kind of like a marbling design. You could have a faux leather. Is that what y'all call it? Faux leather or
Yes, so it's an eco-friendly leather, so the,
okay.
idea of that is so that it is completely wipeable, and so it's water resistant, germ mildew resistant, and stain resistant, and it also is resistant for, it's called a rub factor. So if you have a client that say wears jeans, black clothes, things like that, you don't want that color transfer to happen on your fabric. So that's why we went with an eco-friendly leather. Honestly, it's just a better option to go for the environment, and it's going to last a lot longer and wear for how we would use it. So you
Mhm.
can use all of the chemicals that you would need for the state required guidelines to keep your place sanitary, and you're not going to have any sort of wear on that material.
Mhm. That's awesome. Yeah. So the base can be leather just like the top.
Yes.
And that's what we ended up going with. But we were toying with different designs for like weeks of what we wanted in our space. But there's just so many different options that people can do to like make it personalized and and make it fit in their space. So can you talk a little bit about the different choices and everything?
Yes. So it's almost overwhelming to me, the different options that there are. I spend a lot of time talking to people, just like I did with you, Shelby. I think this will look good in my space. What about this? The way that we break it down and kind of categorize it on our website is we call them the Avery, the Benny, the Aven, the Patty, and the Mike. Just for categories. And exactly what you were saying is we have the wood option. The wood option for the base is almost limitless, right? We have the whitewashed wood, we have the white oak, we have a darker wood, we have cherry wood. It's really any type of wood grain pattern that you're looking for, we can match. So we do have all of those options on our website. When I launched our website, I actually held back on the options because it was almost, to me, it was overwhelming. Like, if I put 50 different wood colors and patterns on there, a client is never going to be able to make a decision. So I broke it down by categories and then put options in there. And just so anybody knows, if there's something that you have in your mind that you're like, this is really what I love, and this would be super cool, I wonder if they could do that. Yes, we can. So that is really the Benny collection, which is just coming to us with an idea and letting us know really what your vibe, what your look is, what your space is, and what you're looking for. And then Terry will take those ideas and he will be able to generate options for you.
So if they want a custom bed, like they're giving ideas that y'all don't already currently have listed,
Yes.
they would select Benny. What happens if they accidentally select the wrong one? Is that
It
okay?
really doesn't matter because everybody that's ever purchased anything is I always immediately contact them and say like, "Hey, let's go through all of the options that you picked before the manufacturing process starts because we do have so many other options that aren't on the site." Don't want people to be overwhelmed with options, but I want to let them know that, hey, just because, maybe you picked this option, maybe you thought that this wood grain pattern was actually going to match your space perfectly. Let me look at what your floors look like. Let me see what your walls look like. And maybe let's match up a few things differently. So, honestly, you can kind of pick whatever, check out anything on the website. But the biggest part is the customer service of being able to customize each bed to you. The Benny option is Terry's favorite because he is so creative with it's mind blowing to me. He can just like come up with these ideas. He says it to me and I'm like, that sounds like it's gonna be horrible. Um, he actually almost a year ago had come up with the wood and leather design, and when he said that, I immediately said, "I think that sounds terrible."
Yeah.
I can't picture that. I don't see that as a lash bed. I don't really know what you're talking about, which is funny because my entire salon that I own is full of the white oak and black, leather upholstered tops. They are
Yeah.
beautiful. They're one of our most requested beds that we get, and in the beginning, I was like, "Ugh, wood and leather? That doesn't make any sense to me."
Yeah.
So, that's why I'm not the designer. I give everybody the options to kinda talk them through what's gonna work the very best for their space, but the Benny option, it could literally be as wild as just graphic printing across the entire bed,
Yes.
logos.
You guys embroidered a logo, Borboletta's logo on their beds. By the way, let's mention this because you guys had a ton of different beds on Borboletta's page. It was just this random day I saw their educators summit. So they just brought in their Borby educators. And I'm like kind of, creeping like, "How's it going?" And I see these beds and I'm like, "Wait a second. What are these?" And I see the ones with like the embroidered logos. I see like the ones with the wooden bases, a paneled base, etc. And I'm like, "Hold on." And I reached out to you guys immediately, right? And
Yes.
yes, anyways, so talk about like those personalizations cuz you have that, also the vinyl little logos and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Take it away.
Oh my gosh, the personalization is endless. This is where, like I said, I had to just stop putting options on our website. And so this is why every single order that comes through, I do a lot of texting, Zoom calls, calling and talking to a client, and being able to offer personalization before we complete the build of their bed. Um, so let's talk about those options. So for the top upholstery of the bed is really we have two standard options, which is going to be a lined pattern across the leather of the bed, regardless of what color option that you pick. That's really just the stitching pattern. The second stitching pattern is we could embroider anything that you want on the top of the bed. So the design stays the exact same, it's just the different look. So you're not gonna get any extra cushion, you're not gonna get a different design with the bed when I'm talking about the build, but what you're getting is a different customization look. So they're both gonna wear the same, they're both gonna feel the same, it's just gonna be a different look. So we could take a logo and embroider that, and like a monogram pattern throughout the bed. We could take a emblem. We actually did a I didn't think that it was gonna look good, but we actually took an eyelash, and embroidered that on the bed, and it really did turn out very good. It's just a monogrammed pattern throughout the bed. Yes, with the Borby beds, they have their logo is it's like half a butterfly, so it's like the Borby bee, and we put that on the top of a bunch of beds. You can pick your stitching color. So for that bed, they did their Borby blue, and then we did just a slightly, I think it's like 2 shades darker in the stitching, so it's just a little bit darker monogram bed. That was a really fun project. I got to work with Kim and Craig, the founders of Borboleta, and come up with we did 6 different options. And we brought those to their education summit, and about a month later they were launching their studio in the Borboleta headquarters. And so we did 6 different options, really looking to see what was going to fit their headquarters and their studio vibe the very best. So it was a very fun project. They were part of our R&D process. We got a lot of feedback from them before we officially launched our business to be able to get wear and tear on the beds, being able to see the beds moved around, having them used by students, having them used by so many different people that almost didn't really like care for the beds, if that makes sense, which is great feedback. And people that didn't know us, that had nothing to do with us, so that they could offer genuine feedback. So we were able to make, changes to the beds before we launched our product so that we could have a really quality manufactured product before we launched.
Yeah, it was I feel like, that's awesome that you guys got that experience with them. I love Kim, and so I was just like, "Whoa, these are so different," and I loved, like, how y'all had even, like, a teal, upholstery at the top of one, and I'm like, "Okay, we need some of these."
Yeah, well, thank you. The whole idea is with this company is I was looking for a solution for my salon and not just a piece of furniture. And I think branding is so big in our business. And that's part of what people are investing in, right? Like um, you want people to recognize your business, and so that was a big part of this is how do we make it so that people aren't just putting the same furniture in every salon. It was kind of the way that I looked at it was all of a sudden when white oak kitchens became popular, it seemed like every single person that was buying a new home was doing white oak kitchens, or years before it was like everybody had like a white and gray kitchen. um and everybody was having the same thing, which is fine. But in our industry, there's so many individuals and so many artists and so many vibrant personalities that why wouldn't you want that to just be showcased in your space?
Mhm.
And so that's how the customization is really endless, because another feature of the customization too is the graphic printing that in the bottom of the drawer when the client opens it, that could be logos, that could be a saying, that could be anything that really matches your branding and your unique style. Another great spot to put branding is when you open the drawer, on the sides of the drawer, then there's, branding right there. So the client can see your name in the drawer. We did actually a really, really fun bed. There's a gal in Texas. Her Instagram is um, slashed by Claudia. And we call it the coffin bed. And so it actually has spider webs embroidered on the top of the bed. When you open the drawer, there's spider webs in there. We put a very big, like coffin style handle on the front of the bed, um, and put like red piping. So it just kind of looks like a vampire's coffin. So
It's
very, very
amazing.
cool.
Yeah, this is so
Very
cool.
on brand for her, and those projects are just really, really fun. It was the same thing working with, Borboleta. It's, what is on brand for you guys? What can make your studio look like a Borboleta studio, not like every other place, right?
Yes.
Don't you want when you're posting photos, when isn't that like the whole point of marketing is you want somebody to just be able to look at a photo and be able to recognize that with your brand? And so even there's one thing that we did with branding is at the top of the bed where really the artist's like elbows are sitting and where the client's head is, for some clients, we even put their logo up there. So every single photo that's taken, if it's zoomed out a little bit of the whole client's face, there's the logo embroidered right in the top of the bed.
I love it. That is so cool. And I agree with you about the picture stuff because that's been a big reason why I didn't previously like to photograph in my space. Like I almost would feel embarrassed when I would like give a tour, for example, or like show someone my space like, "Oh yeah, this is it." And yeah, I know the beds are kind of like ugly or something because I just had massage tables. And so having these now, I'm like still getting used to that feeling of feeling proud of the space and whoa, now we don't have to hide this massage bed. We can show our beds off because they reflect us a little bit now. And yeah, so I am like this is like a 12 out of 10 for me.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you. It was
Yeah.
great. It was great working with you and, being able to pick the look for your space. It's funny, I remember when we got to your space and we walked in, I was like, "Yep," we went through 20 different options, and the one that you landed on was absolutely perfect for your space.
Mhm. I tend to
So
have, like, decision fatigue or whatever you would call that. I always, like, don't wanna regret a situation or a choice that I've made, so deciding, like, with all the options is amazing, but, like, deciding it all, I was like, "What if I regret it?" And I haven't, so I'm so glad we ended up where we did.
perfect.
Yeah. Um, so let's talk a little bit about, like, payment options and everything. So how can somebody get one of these in their salon?
So many different options. We understand that this is a very big investment for people. This is a piece that should last them their entire career. This isn't something that is like a fad piece of furniture. So the price is really built in with that in mind. The price for each bed is $2,500. And we have multiple different options. Number one, it's called a build deposit. So if somebody wants to purchase a bed, they could pay half for the bed. And then upon delivery of the bed, and when they are ready to take delivery for the bed, is when the rest of that deposit the rest of the balance would be paid. So, and what I mean by that is we even had a couple of clients that weren't actually ready to pay the rest of the amount, even though the beds were completed. And so we actually just kept them in our warehouse for a couple of weeks before we shipped them out. So we're here to work with you, and we understand that these are large investments, and we want to make options readily available to you so that you can get this furniture as soon as possible for you. So that is one. We also have Affirm payment options. We also have Shop Pay and Afterpay. And I think Shop Pay and Afterpay break it down into like 4 payments that you pay over time. And then Affirm is like a longer term financing. I think that they go up to like 24-month terms. Um, and the build of the beds, our turnaround time is anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. I'll contact you and let you know exactly kind of where you are at. And a lot of that is having the client really pick what they want. We've had people that have ordered beds. I've contacted them, immediately and said, this is great. We're going to start processing your order. And then a week later, I've posted some photos of a bed, and we've had that client reach out and say, "Oh my gosh, is it too late? Can I actually change to that option?" So that's how we factor in the 4 to 6 weeks, because the builds of the beds, we invested in some pretty big manufacturing equipment to make the builds of the beds very efficient and quick. But the process of the client choosing each thing is really the part that takes a while.
Hmm.
And then shipping only takes, no matter really where it's at in the United States, it's not going to take any longer than a week to get to you. And that's all factored into that 4 to 6 week process.
So, what is the shipping process like? Do you recommend somebody, like, will they know the day that it's going to be delivered? That way, like, they can schedule a time to have no clients in there and everything?
Yes. So the delivery of the furniture, how that works is it's a very big piece of furniture. So it will arrive on a pallet and completely boxed, bubble wrapped, strapped onto the pallet. The shipping company will deliver it right to your door. There's 2 options. For shipping, they give you a window of within 24 hours. It's not like a FedEx delivery, right? This is a
Got it.
very big pallet of a piece of equipment. So it's a trucking company that's bringing it to you. And so they'll do one of 2 things. And that's just really what I work out with you is once that piece of furniture arrives in town, they will call you and say, "Hey, it's at our warehouse. We can schedule and make an appointment with you to bring it to you." So that has worked for people, and then there's other people that it's nope, as soon as it comes into town, the trucking company, they give you, like I said, it's a 24-hour window, so things can always happen in shipping. So I would love to just be able to say, "Yep, it will be there at 9 a.m. Monday morning," but that's just not the case. Who knows? Yeah. Trucking companies across the United States, so they give you a 24-hour window, like, "Hey, it's gonna arrive, within this time frame," and you can just opt to have it just brought right to your commercial space. And
What
then it's just cutting open the box, and taking it right off the pallet. You don't need to put anything together. The legs are on the bed. There isn't anything. You don't need to put the drawer in, nothing. Um, Everything is just completely wrapped. You just cut open the box, pull off all the bubble wrap, and carry it into your space.
I was just gonna ask that. That is awesome. I think anytime I've ordered, like, big pieces of furniture, I've, like, had to enlist all these people to come help me put it all together, but no, it's great that it's already built for you, but the beds do weigh 100 or so pounds, or
Yeah, they're about 130 pounds, and it's because of honestly, because of the storage underneath, that
Mhm.
added a lot of weight to the bed, but part of that is, my husband, Terry, wanted the bed to be very sturdy, because I don't know if you've ever, like, sat on a kind of a cheap piece of furniture that doesn't weigh very much. You can go to sit down and the piece of furniture slides.
Yeah.
on the floor. And it's also when somebody's laying in something for long periods of time, you want the client to be comfortable and confident. You want them to feel like they're laying on something very sturdy. So it's built for, a variety of sizes, shapes, and sizes of
Mhm.
clients. That's why it weighs about 130 pounds.
When you guys brought the beds to me, you guys had them on almost this little, like, is it a dolly? Or
Yeah, it's
yeah.
just a little cart.
Yeah. But then, we also, like, one person was at the front and one person, like, just opened the drawer and then lifted it up, and it was, like, kind of easy and light to do that, but yeah, once it's moved in the spot that it needs to go, it's pretty much it stays there forever, so you just need to
Right,
move it
and you
once.
you can just slide that across the floor,
Oh,
even
yeah.
the hardware of the feet, it does have, rubber on the bottom, so you're not sliding it across and putting grooves in your floor.
So I have a code for everybody for these beds to save a couple $100 on your bed. The code is the Lash Boss. So if you type that in at checkout, Noah was so gracious to give all of the listeners a little bit of a discount when you invest in one of these. So yeah, the Lash Boss. Okay, before I let you go, what is one thing you want listeners to know about Aven Designs in general?
Um, I would say just how passionate, I am about this company and, about the solution that it really offered to my business, and that's really all I'm just looking to get out there for anyone else if they're looking to be able to have the most efficient business, and to add something to their business. That's why this company was formed. This company was formed just based off of me looking for a solution for my business. It provided that, but the biggest thing that it really provided, I didn't even know that this was happening, was that me and my husband ended up opening this company where we can work together on a daily basis. I own my company because my husband grew up with a family of entrepreneurs, and he just always thought if you want to do something, just try it. That's what pushed me to have my business, to continuously grow my business. Um, but what ended up happening over the years is my husband owned a car crushing company. He ran that, worked there, and then I owned a salon, worked there, and so we really were developing 2 separate businesses, even though we were working together. It was really behind the scenes. Aven Designs, is just I hate to say it, but I'm so passionate about it because of actually what it changed for our lifestyle and our family. It really is a business that just allows me and my husband to work together on a daily basis. It's so crazy in our life. People were so shocked the last year. My husband grew up with his parents owning a salvage yard. He grew up being able to, just be around business owners, taking chances all the time, being able to make business decisions. And that's what led him to open a car crushing business at 28, I want to say, a pretty big ordeal. And then as this bed company was developing, along the way, he just said, let's just take a chance. Let's close my business. Let's invest in this big manufacturing equipment, and let's take this 3,000 square foot shop and turn it into a upholstery and manufacturing company. Um, and that's the part of this that's so personal, is I had no idea along the way that this was going to turn into me and my husband working together on a daily basis, being able to watch our kids run around the warehouse, work, and be able to be in our space with us. It allowed, just such a different change in our lifestyle. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this is, this isn't just a piece of furniture that we're hoping that people put in their salon. Again, making connections with people and really looking for what is someone needing for their space, and be able to work one-on-one with him while I get to spend every day working with my husband has just been such a big blessing.
That is goals right there. That's dream life. You guys did an amazing job, and I love how personalized everything is. Just being able to talk to both you and Terry, you can see how much y'all care about what y'all created, and y'all are so involved, and y'all are literally the ones making the beds, which is wild. But yeah, hats off to both of you, and I
you.
hope for like the most successful like launch and year that you could possibly get, because y'all deserve it so much.
Thank you very much, Shelby. Thank you for taking the time today to interview me and have me on your podcast. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And again, you guys use code the Lash Boss if you want to save a little bit on your bed. And I will put in the show notes the link to Aven Designs. But if you want to find them on Instagram, what is y'all's handle again?
Aven.designs, and our website is avenmt.com.
Montana. Yeah,
Yes.
got it. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure getting to talk to you about these beds. I've said it before, but I am so obsessed with them and hope everyone can try them out in person. You guys will be at Lash Boss Summit, I believe, and we'll have some beds there for people to feel out. So if you're going to be there, you can check them out there.
Thank you again, Shelby. It was great.
Of course. Thank you.